Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, isn't it? I have no idea. Happy Tuesday, 7 a.m. Vinyasa class. Thanks for joining me this morning, either joining me now live or joining me later in the day. My name is Amanda. I teach at the North Studio, mostly. But as soon as this is all over, come roll out of that next to me at South Hill, because I live South Hill, so that's where I usually practice. So I cannot wait. So it's 7, so let's get started. If you have a block or at home in your home practice or anything block shaped or anything, go ahead and grab it. You may want it for some of the poses we're going to do through this flow today. And what else? Oh yeah, and if you don't have a block, we have some retail, or if you need some beautiful hot yoga gear, anyways, we've got some retail up on our website that you can get. But also we're still doing that partnership with Manduka, where if you go to manduka.com and you buy blocks or anything that you need for your home practice and use the code SHOPLOCAL, they will give 25% of their sales or profits or whatever it is back to Beautiful. So thank you guys all so much for all the support you've already thrown to us, and hopefully this can be over soon and we can thank you in person. So for now, let's start out on our backs in Shavasana. So just rolling out on your back, arms down by your side, spleen open. I'm going to take our time to get moving this morning. Just waking up the body, waking up all the muscles, giving them some time to catch up with our brain here. They're ready for us to move. So in Vinyasa, what that actually means is that we're moving one breath, one movement. So every time we take a movement, we're inhaling, we're exhaling, it helps us get deeper into the pose. So either we're moving with the breath or we're holding a pose and using the breath to get deeper, to twist deeper maybe. So as we're breathing, we're using that yogi breath called the Ujjayi breath. And that breath is in through the nose and out through the nose. And it's a long inhale in. And then you can strip the whisper muscles in the back of your throat, and it's a long, audible exhale out through the nose. Some people say it sounds like ocean waves. Some people say it's the Darth Vader breath. I give you the opportunity to figure out what works best for you. Because it's funny, what works for one may not work for some. Darth Vader being a villain might make it seem like that's a little scary to some. But for me, my kids are really into Star Wars right now, and Darth Vader and all that brings them a lot of joy, so it's actually kind of a happy thing. Whereas the ocean, I was supposed to be on a plane tomorrow to New Mexico, so that's a little sad, right? Just a reminder that what might seem like something happy or good for one person might not be, right? And so just to always think about what's going on in other people's lives and be conscious of that. Ocean waves might be not the most awesome thing, but Darth Vader might be. So whatever that breath is, that Ujjayi breath, we're going to keep that going through the whole practice. And how we're going to move today, and we're going to modify, and we're going to amplify. And I'm going to show you wild things, and I'm going to show you ways to back off. And no matter what, if you feel like you can't keep this Ujjayi breath going in and out through your nose, if you feel like you need to gasp for air, back off. Maybe take a child's pose, maybe lay back in Shavasana. For now, let's take that breath and let's take our arms up overhead, inhaling, arms rising up and falling on the mat behind you, Exhale, arms down by your side. Inhale, arms lift up and overhead, landing on the mat behind you. Exhale, forward by your side. Inhale, arms rise. And now let's take our hands above our head, clasping our fingers, releasing our pointer fingers, and then just on the mat in this Shavasana, just reaching over to the right. And now coming back to center and reaching over to the left. And now back to center and maybe back over to the right. And back to center and over to the left. And back to center. And now reaching our hands behind us, our toes in front of us, just really stretching out the full body, feeling that full body stretch, feeling the breath full of air, breathing into any points of tension that you feel. And now let's roll into a tight little ball, bringing your forehead up to your knees. And now think about from toes to the tip of your head, tensing up every muscle in your body. Your toes tense, your calves, your thighs, your belly, your arms, your fingers, your face squinches up. Really tight little ball. And now exhale out. And now inhale, roll into this tight little ball. And exhale out. Maybe we hover our feet a little bit, getting a little bit of core action happening. We hug in. Exhale out. Hug in. Exhale, extend. Hug in. Exhale, extend. Now let's hug in. Let's take this right knee up and around our rib cage as we take the left heel down to the ground. Now the left heel is flexed and the right heel, or the right foot is just relaxing. We're bringing this right knee up and around the rib cage into the armpit, compressing the right side body, the ascending colon. Hugging that in, wind relieving pose, right? Another benefit of the home practice, if anything releases here, nobody knows. And now let's bring this right knee across the body, taking that spinal twist. Maybe that right arm comes out to a capital T. Maybe you can get to the ground. Maybe you want a little extra and you can take those eagle legs as you release down. Maybe you're gazing over to the right, arms out in the capital T. Keeping both shoulders to the ground if you can manage it. Working on getting those knees to the ground. Breathing into this twist. And now let's release back to center, hugging both knees into our chest. Hug that left knee up and around the rib cage. That right leg extends. Right heel flex. Left foot relax. Bring that knee up and around, hugging it in. Compressing the left side body, the descending colon, the organs, internal organs on the left. Aiding in digestion. Which is interesting as we twist this left knee across the body. Did you know there's a lot of serotonin in our gut? Serotonin is one of those neurotransmitters that helps relieve depression or can play a part in whether we're feeling depressed mood or not. And a lot of that is in our gut. So if our digestion isn't working right, which for a lot of us it isn't due to stress and anxiety and things like that, that can actually lead to some mood symptoms. So doing yoga and some of these, focusing on these poses that, you know, aid digestion. So we hear that in class all the time. You're like, okay, that's a lot of it. That's why we feel lifts in our mood when we do yoga. And now let's bring it back to center. Hugging our knees in. Let's hug our left knee in, sending our right leg up to the sky. And now let's bring this left foot down. And maybe we're clasping our hands behind our thigh, behind our calf, if we're reaching up and grabbing a hold of our big toe. Just feeling this awesome stretch all the way up the back of the leg as we maybe pull our leg towards us. And now let's release, hugging both knees in. We are going to hug the right knee in, sending the left heel up. That right foot comes down. And then we place our hands wherever we feel comfortable today. Recognizing always that we don't have symmetry in our body all the time. Just the way we walk or sit or whatever we do. So we do yoga to work back towards that symmetry. So if one side is wonkier than the other, no worries, you'll get there. All right, and now let's release, hugging both knees in. Let's take our happy laughing baby, checking in with our hips, seeing where we're feeling this and how we're feeling this. Pulling those knees towards the ground. And now let's hug in, and we're going to rock and roll the length of our spine. Taking a few rocks, maybe we pose in that boat pose. Last one, crossing the ankles and rolling over, coming into our tabletop position. Our knees are under our hips, our wrists are under our shoulders. Let's take a round of cat-cow. So starting first with a flat back, and then we inhale, eyes and tailbone to the side. We're gazing up, we're looking up. Arching the back, belly button into spine. Inhale to rise. Exhale, belly button into spine, taking that cat pose. Inhale, eyes and tailbone to the sky. Exhale, cat pose. And now just take any kind of intuitive movements that might feel good to you. Maybe we're sinking those hips over to the right heel, coming up and around to the left. Anything that feels good right now. And now coming back up to our tabletop. Let's pop our toes and kind of lean your hips back, feeling maybe a stretch up the arches of the foot. Let's come down to like a puppy pose, reaching those fingertips towards the front of the mat. Maybe we can get our chin to the mat. And now let's come up. Let's do that one more time, popping the toes, sinking our heels back, reaching our fingertips forward. And rising up. Pushing back now to our downward facing dog. Our feet are about hips width distance. The weight is evenly in our hands. Making sure not to roll over into the pinky side of the hand. So the weight is really even in the hands. And then our muscles are just corkscrewing up from the mat. Our triceps like spinning in towards each other. The smiles of our elbows facing each other. Gazing up at our belly button perhaps. Working our heels down to the mat eventually, but it's not necessary. Whatever's working. This is the first downward dog of the day. Let's inhale and lift our heels, lifting our hips really high. And then bring your heels down on that exhale. Inhale and lift. Exhale down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. And now let's tiptoe our feet to our hands. Taking tiny, tiny baby steps up to our hands. Ragdoll, grabbing opposite hand to opposite elbow. Swaying side to side. Playing with the bend in your knees, keeping your knees straight. You get that great stretch up the backs of the legs. Maybe you bend a little bit and can feel a stretch in your low back. Maybe you take your hands, clasping them, and bring them to the nape of your neck. Really feeling that stretch in the back, up the spine. And now release those fingertips to the mat. Let's bring our hands to our shins, taking that inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Rising on that inhale all the way up to extended mountain pose. Hands coming to heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Gently close your eyes and set an intention for your practice today. What would you like to bring into your life? Inhale. What would you like to usher out? Exhale. Arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, reaching for those toes, halfway lift. Step out to that high plank position, modifying as necessary. And then lowering down to your belly. Wrists under shoulders, the tops of our feet on the mat, the tops of our feet pushing into the mat so hard that our knees are lifting up off the mat, hips pushing into the mat. Inhaling with no weight in the hands, we're lifting our shoulders up off the ground into that cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, down. And now let's push up to that upward facing dog. Belly button into spine as you push back to your downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. Filling up our lungs. Releasing. Walk, step, or jump your feet to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Rise up on that inhale, extended mountain pose, reach up, look up. Let's take a back bend, cactusing those arms, looking back, going back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Stepping back, jumping back, moving to your Vinyasa, lowering down perhaps through Chaturanga. Inhaling the upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Breath in. Release. Walking our feet to our hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Rising up on that inhale. Let's cactus our arms this time, taking those jellyfish arms, looking back, going back. Exhale, folding forward. Halfway lift. Stepping back, jumping back, moving through your flow, using your breath to move you through these poses, meaning a downward facing dog. We take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, exhale, filling up, empty, walk, step, or jump, feet to your hand. Halfway lift, fold, rising up to extended mountain pose, reach up and look up. This time let's take our hands to our low back. Inhale, look back, go back, taking that back bend. And exhale, fold forward, reaching for those toes, halfway lift. Stepping back, jumping back. Meeting in our downward facing dog. Breathing through your Vinyasa. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale, filling up, empty. Let's lift our right heel to the sky, and we're going to bring it forward, modifying our crescent lunge. We're all coming down to our knees. We're going to take this flow and we're going to modify it first, and then amp it up each time. Always knowing that you can stay in the modified version for this whole time. So we're in our crescent lunge, down on our knee, arms up overhead. Think about this left hip coming forward, right hip back, keeping those hips square, knee directly over the ankle. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, let's take that chest to thigh, sending those arms back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, chest to thigh. Inhale, rise. Exhale, chest to thigh, and now swooping these arms open, we're going to take a modified warrior two. My left shin is coming at a 45-degree angle now in this modified warrior two. Gazing over that right finger, and now I'm going to send this right hand back, gazing up, taking it to a modified extended side angle. Inhale, exhale. Flowing through these as we breathe.
Exhaling to that extended side angle. Let's take one more, and then let's bring this right palm inside the foot, gazing up, and we'll bring those hands to the mat, pushing back to our downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale, fill up, empty. Our left leg is going to rise, and we're going to bring it forward for that modified crescent lunge on this side. Arms up overhead, making sure, checking in with our hips. We've got them both pointed towards the front of the mat, bringing this left hip back, right hip forward, arms up overhead. Exhale as we take our chest to thigh. Inhale to rise. Exhale, chest to thigh. Inhale to rise. Exhale, take that chest to thigh. Inhale to rise, and then we're going to come into that warrior two on this side. Having that right shin come back at that 45-degree angle. Taking that warrior two, and let's flow through these reverse warriors to extended side angles. Inhaling, lifting that left arm. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Reverse. And now let's take that right palm to the mat, reaching that left arm forward. And then we'll bring that down, pushing back to our downward facing dog. Taking our breath in, breath out. Filling up. Empty. Big breath in. Release. Walk, step, or jump feet to your hands. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Bring our toes together to touch. Our heels are slightly apart. We're going to sink our hips, coming into our chair pose. Holding here for a few breaths. Belly button into spine. Our tailbone is descending. Our pelvis lifts. Shoulder blades in. Maybe the palms of our hands are together as we're gazing up at our thumbs. Exhale, fold forward, reaching for those toes. Halfway lift. Stepping back, jumping back, moving through your vinyasa. Lowering down through chaturanga perhaps. Inhaling to rise. Downward facing dog. Our right heel is going to rise, and we're going to bring our right knee to our right elbow, and then kick it back. We'll bring our right knee to our nose, and then kick it back. Our right knee to our left elbow, and extend. And now let's bring this right foot forward for our crescent lunge. Feeling free to stay in that modified version, or we can pop our knee up off the mat this time. Arms up overhead, working on getting those hips in line. The right hip back, the left hip forward. 90-degree bend in that right knee directly over the ankle. Arms up overhead. Inhale, lift. Exhale, take that chest to thigh. Inhale, lift. Exhale, chest to thigh. Inhale, rise. Chest to thigh. Opening up to warrior two. And now we'll take that right hand to the sky, flowing through this extended side angle, reversing on the inhale, exhaling as we extend. Inhale, arms rise, exhale, extend, one more. And now can we take that right hand inside, and then let's bring it back, taking that right leg back, and we breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Filling up. Empty. Let's take our left leg forward. Crescent lunge. Rising up. Exhale as we fold forward. Inhale to rise. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale as we lift. Exhale down. Inhale, rise and open, warrior two. Legs here. Warrior two. Reversing our warrior, inhaling, we send that left palm up to the sky. Exhale, flowing into that extended side angle, moving with your breath as we inhale, reverse. Exhale, extend. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extend. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, let's bring that left palm to the mat, perhaps. Maybe that block handy. And now let's bring that right hand to the mat, pushing back to our downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, filling up, empty, feet to your hands. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold. Toes together to touch, heels slightly apart as we inhale and lift up. Taking our hands to heart center, inhale and lift and lengthen. Exhale, let's take that left elbow to the right knee for that twist. Working this right shoulder back, working on getting those hands to heart center as we twist. Inhale, exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale, fold. Taking those peace fingers to the big toes, pulling our head down towards the mat. Really feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. This is a moment to take a breath or a breather, but really it's a dynamic stretch as we're pulling our head, our biceps are bulging. Releasing those fingers, inhale to a flat back. Moving through your vinyasa, meeting in our downward facing dog. Exhaling all the way down, inhaling to rise, downward facing dog. We're going to lift this time. I'm going to need some room. We are going to lift our right leg to the sky. We're bringing that right knee to our right elbow, and perhaps you want to try to fly into your EPK1, and then back. Right knee to nose, and extend. Right knee to left elbow, and extend. And now let's bring that right foot forward, rising up to our crescent lunge. And now, let's take this forward to our warrior three. Lifting up, trying to keep the hips level, so this left hip down. Reaching forward, maybe taking your hands to heart center, maybe extending them out. And now returning to our crescent lunge, opening to our warrior two. Let's reverse our warrior. Get to that extended side angle. Let's see if we can plant our hand. And again, if you have that block handy, we're going to pop up into a balancing half moon. So you may want this block here as you start to bring weight into the right foot, popping up into that balancing half moon. Maybe we can gaze up at our top hand, maybe not. And then let's bring it back to that warrior two so gracefully. Reversing that warrior, and let's cartwheel the hands to the mat. Pushing back to our downward facing dog, and we breathe in, and we breathe out. Breath in, breath out. Filling up. Empty. Let's lift this left heel, and then we're going to bring this left knee to our left elbow, pausing for a moment in our EPK1, and then bring it, EPK2, and then bring it back. Left knee to nose, and back. Left knee to right elbow, and kick it back. And now bring this left knee or left foot forward into this crescent lunge. Arms up overhead, preparing to fly into our warrior three. Working on getting that right hip down. And now let's bring it back. Perhaps we want to get our block ready. Opening up to our warrior two. Reversing the warrior. And then let's take our hand down to that block, popping up to our balancing half moon. Maybe we can ease up at the top hand. Return to your warrior two. Reverse your warrior one more time. Cartwheel those hands to the mat. Moving through your vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog is the goal, however you would like to get there. Once you have exhaled back to your downward facing dog, we'll take a breath in and a breath out. Filling up. Empty. Big breath in. Release. Let's get our feet to our hands. Walk, step, or jump. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Toes together to touch. Heels slightly apart. Inhale, rising up into our chair pose. Hands coming to heart center. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, left elbow to our right knee. Taking this twist, or maybe we want to go for our side curl. Just amplifying it a little bit this morning. And returning to center, arms up overhead, hands back to heart center, right elbow to left knee as we twist. Enjoy this twist, or maybe we want to take a side curl on this side. And return to center. And fold forward. This time, let's take our gorilla pose. Stepping on the palms of our hands. Toes tickling our wrist crease as we pull our head down towards the mat. Elbows really bending back towards our shins. Feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. And now releasing those toes. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Rising up, extended mountain pose. Hands coming to heart center, Tadasana. Start with some balancing now. Working on our eagle. We're going to add on, we'll do eagle both sides, and then we'll add on to our eagle a little bit. So arms up overhead. Let's identify your right arm, swing it under, your right leg over, working on getting that right foot wrapped around the calf, sinking into that standing leg. Elbows up to shoulder height. And hold and breathe. Belly button into spine. Core lock, your Mula Bandha. Right here, this whole core tight. That tailbone descends, that pelvis lifts. And now let's release out of it. Left arm under, left leg over. Working on getting that left toe wrapped around the calf. Or if this isn't working, you could also use those toes as a kickstand. Sinking in that standing leg. And let's release out of it. Let's do eagle on our right. This time we're going to add on to it a little bit. So right arm under, right leg over. Elbows up to shoulder height. On your next exhale, we're taking our elbows to our knees. And now we're going to take this eagle out for a flight, opening up our wings. This pose is called airplane, but today we're flying eagles. And then we're going to bring our right foot forward and have our eagle land in our tree. So bringing hands to heart center, putting your right foot wherever it's comfortable today, flowing forward to kickstand here, maybe on our calf, maybe on our thigh. Now if you you enjoy a half a tree this morning, you can obviously take that half a tree. If you're in this Ashtanga tree, maybe we're taking our hands somewhere new. If we're in our hatha tree, this is an opportunity for your toe stand or a grasshopper pose. And I just noticed that our lovely Mackenzie on her YouTube channel has a video, I haven't watched it yet, breaking down grasshopper. But if you want to learn how to do wild things like this one, you can head over there maybe after this class and check out this grasshopper. But if we're in our hatha tree, this is a fun arm balance. And so just like we're coming down to toe stand, but instead of coming forward, we're going to plant our hands over to our side, and my right foot is on my right elbow. My right foot is on my right elbow, and my left elbow is making a shelf for my hip as I lean forward with my chaturanga arms and extend this left foot out. Then we can come back, maybe pausing in our toe stand, and then back up to our tree pose and releasing down. Excellent. Let's do all of that on the other side. Arms up overhead, left arm under, left leg over, sinking into our eagle. On our exhale, our elbows to our knees. Now we're going to take this eagle out for a flight, opening up our wings before we have this eagle land in our tree, picking your tree today. And if you're following along with my wild hatha tree journey, you can do that. If you're in Ashtanga, take your arms somewhere new. Perhaps if you want to come down and try for that toe stand, try for that grasshopper. And releasing out of that, rising up and down. Nice work, everybody. Arms up overhead. Inhale, folding forward, taking that nice forward fold, halfway lift. Inhale, step back, jump back, move through your Vinyasa, meeting in your downward facing dog. That breath in, and a breath out. Inhale, exhale, filling up. Empty. Let's lift our right heel to the sky, bending our knee and opening up our hip, hanging out right here, or maybe taking this opportunity to flip our dog, grounding down to lift our hips up, and now meeting back in our three-legged dog, swinging this right foot forward for warrior one, opening up to warrior two, sending that right palm up to the sky. We're going to straighten this right knee and tick-tock our arms down, coming into triangle. Our right knee, we have a softness in this right knee joint. We're not locking out our knee. Our right palm into our shin, gazing up at our left hand, feeling our chest spin open, heart spinning up towards the ceiling, using the breath to extend the spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, opening. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, open the heart, open the chest. One more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, open. And now let's come up to our five-pointed star. We'll be in our goddess squat. So rolling into this, feeling that in our hips. We're cactusing our arms in our goddess pose. And now let's lift up and down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. And now let's take our hands to our knees. And we'll take our right shoulder in and around, our left shoulder in and around. Just kind of flowing through this, feeling that kind of twist in the spine, that stretch. And now let's rise back up to our goddess. Inhale up and down. And let's take our warrior two to the back of our mat. So flipping those left toes in our warrior two, reversing our warrior, and then taking this down to that triangle pose. Straightening that left knee, not locking out that joint. Gazing up at the right hand. Again, using the breath to lengthen and open on the exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, open that heart, spinning that heart up towards the ceiling. Gazing up at that right hand. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, open. One more. And now that top hand pulls you up. Let's take our hands to our hips, coming into our wide-legged forward fold. Inhale as we lift up. Exhale, keeping that flat back, folding forward. Reaching for whatever we feel good about today. Maybe we're grabbing a hold of our ankles. Maybe we can reach down and get all 10 fingers under our heels. Maybe we are planting our hands on our mat. If tripod headstand is in your practice, this is your moment. If it's not in your practice, this is your moment to try. For our tripod headstand, we want our hands in line with our heels. The top of our head will be coming down to the mat, and then you can pop up from there. Otherwise, enjoy this amazing stretch. Tripods come on down. Meeting in this wide-legged forward fold. Take our hands to our hips as we inhale halfway, keeping a flat back. Exhale it all out here. Inhale, rise. Warrior two. To the front of the room with that right leg forward. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, hands to the mat. Pushing back. Going through your Vinyasa, meeting in that downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. Filling up, empty. Let's come out to our high plank. Lower all the way down to your bellies. Resting your right cheek on the mat just for a moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Switch cheeks, left cheek on the mat. Inhale, exhale. And now let's take our chin to the mat. Legs are extended out long behind you, arms down by your side, palms on the mat. Our toes are together to touch, as long as you are not feeling any low back pain or pressure. If you are feeling some low back twitches and whatever, we could keep our feet at hips width distance here. Preparing for our locust. Inhale and lift everything up off the mat. Your toes lift up off the mat. Shins, knees, thighs, everything lifts. Those thighs are spinning in towards each other. We're not holding our breath. We are holding our belly button into our spine. Core lock is tight as we inhale and lift. Exhale down. Cleansing breath in. Cleansing breath out. Locust number 2. Reaching back, arms on the mat, palms on the mat. Inhale, chin on the mat, lifting up, everything lifts, shoulders, arms, lifting up, breathing as we do, inhaling and lifting, exhaling, lifting more, belly button into spine, thighs spinning in towards each other, really holding up, skin to muscle to bone. Inhale, lift, exhale, release. Take a cleansing breath in and a cleansing breath out. Setting up for our floor bow. Reaching back behind you and grabbing a hold of your toes right at the shoelace line. If today you only want to do one at a time, that's fine. We're going to do 2 of these. Grabbing a hold of what you would like to grab a hold of, and on your next inhale, lifting up, creating that beautiful teardrop shape as you inhale and rise. We're on the soft part of our bellies, and we're lifting. If you've got hold of one toe, maybe we're reaching that other hand straight forward, like you're going to give me a handshake or a high five, lifting and releasing. Breath in, breath out. Reaching back, grabbing a hold of those toes. Maybe this time you want to try the power boat if you've got both feet. So instead of grabbing onto the toes, you're grabbing onto your ankles. Whatever you're grabbing a hold of, take a breath in and lift. If you're in the power bow, grabbing a hold of your ankles, you're coming up onto your thighs. If you're in the regular floor bow, we're on the soft part of your bellies. If you're grabbing a hold of one leg, you're reaching that other arm out like you're going to give me a handshake or a high five. Work it out and release. Nice work, everybody. Taking a cleansing breath in and a cleansing breath out as you windshield your wiper your feet back and forth, releasing that low back. Beautiful work. Now let's roll over onto our backs for our back bends, our bridge and our wheel. You may want to grab a block. If you have one, not necessary, but I've got some modifications and some amplifications that we can use with this block here. I always like to say at this point of your practice, it's your choice. If you would like to have that restorative bridge option, rolling onto your back and placing this block under your sacrum, relax over that block and just hang out there for your restorative bridge while we do our bridges and wheels. Absolutely lovely, yummy choice. So take that option now if you'd like. If you'd like to do bridge and you've got your block, we're going to roll that onto our backs. Taking that block between your knees, this just keeps this integrity in the pose to make sure that our knees aren't splaying out too much. So keeping that block together, grounding down through the heels, and peeling those hips up off the mat, clasping our hands underneath us, maybe coming up onto our shoulders, holding it up here, and releasing down. Restorative bridgers, you just stay exactly where you are. If you would like to try a wheel, I've got a wild thing to do with this block for your wheel. But let's just do one wheel first, and then we'll get into the wild thing. Whatever your option is, bridge or wheel, round down, round down and rise up, pushing up into that shape. Holding here for a few breaths. And release down. Preparing for your bridge or wheel, with or without the block. If you want to try this, we're going to do a chin tap to the block in our wheel. If you want to try that, it's kind of cool. If not, not. This is just another kind of exercise to strengthen the wheel, and another cool amplification with the block. So, grounding down, rise up, get our block underneath us, and then see if you can do that little wheel push up and chin tap. And then lowering down. Fun, right? All right, we'll do one more bridge or wheel. We'll make it this one our best one. We'll do some lifting our legs or coming up on our toes, things like that. So taking your option, ground down and rise up. Maybe we're lifting a leg. Maybe we're lifting the other leg. Maybe we're coming up on our toes. And releasing down, hugging your knees into your chest, feeling that release of the spine. And taking the soles of our feet together, knees splaying out, Supta Baddha Konasana. One hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Closing your eyes gently and taking a breath. Restorative bridgers, obviously removing that block now. Relaxing back in your Supta Baddha Konasana. Take taking a moment to just breathe. Now let's bring our hands together, clasping our fingers, releasing our pointer fingers, doing a little bit of core work here. Get your spine flat on the mat. Feel your pelvis lift and your tailbone roll down onto the mat. And then lifting our Supta Baddha Konasana legs. So just lifting our feet up off the ground. And then we're just going to sort of pulse up at an angle, like up at the corner of the ceiling. Just taking these little pulses. Maybe we're inhaling as we reach forward and exhaling back. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug those knees into your chest. And let's rock and roll the length of our spine. Coming into our, you could just kind of kick back to our tabletop position. We'll take a round of cat-cows here. Inhale, eyes and tailbone to the sky. Exhale, arching the back into cat. One more, cow. Exhale, cat. And now let's push back to our downward facing dog. Bringing our right heel to the sky, bending the knee and opening up that hip. And we're going to bring it forward for our resting half pigeon. Our right shin parallel to the short side of the mat. Inhaling to lift our chest, super proud chest, before we exhale down. And you may want this block to rest your head on. Or perhaps feeling open enough and ready enough to relax your head on the mat. You may need the block if your hip is too high off the mat, and that the block underneath your hip may help here as well. And if this is too much for you, or you're just not into pigeon before, you can always take this figure 4 on your back, where you bring your right ankle over your left knee, pulling that left thigh towards you, feeling the same stretch of the hip that you would feel in pigeon. Your option and melt. A lot of thoughts, stressors. It's a moment in the yoga class where we slow down and hold. A lot of things can start popping up. But sometimes some not so great things. If it's about you to do this, let it go. If it's any negative thoughts or judgments, let those go. Focus on melting. Focus on releasing. Focusing on letting go of these behaviors. The chest rises. Let's push back to our downward facing dog. Bring that right heel to the sky. Maybe we're going to open up our hip. And now let's bring that left heel up, left shin forward, resting half pigeon on the left. flexing this left heel to protect the knee, inhaling as we lift our chest. Exhale as we lower down. Using the block either underneath this hip, maybe underneath your forehead, easing into this. Taking this moment to feel vulnerable. Noticing how you responded when I said the word vulnerable. What did that mean to you? I've been reading Brene Brown's Daring Greatly, and of course, vulnerability and shame, what she talks about if you read her books. And it's a really pretty concept. Is it? Just relax into this. Without judgment, without thinking that you have to be like someone else. That wherever your body is right now, whatever your body can do, is absolutely perfect. Let's inhale and rise up. Extending this left leg back. That downward facing dog, maybe we're lifting that left leg. And taking those toes through those hips. And now let's walk forward, coming to a seat. We're going to extend our legs in front of us for our seated forward fold. Arms up overhead. With a flat back, we're folding forward, grabbing a hold of those big toes. The block could come in handy here. If you can make this stretch happen, if you want to grab a hold of the block, really feel that stretch of the backs of the legs. Inhale as we rise up. Let's take our Janu Sirsasana, left foot into our right thigh. Arms up overhead. Take that basket grip. Make that connection, taking that basket around your toes. Remembering that the name of the pose is actually forehead to knee pose. So do what you need to make that forehead to knee happen. And eventually, maybe we can straighten it all the way out. Let's inhale and rise up and switch sides. Right foot into our left thigh, taking that basket grip around the toes, doing what is necessary, bending that knee if needed to get your forehead to your knee. Inhale and rise up. We'll extend that leg out in front of us. And then slowly roll down. Arms down by your side. Palms facing up perhaps. Our feet splay open, coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Gently closing your eyes. Taking some deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Shavasana being one of the hardest poses. Just like in those hip openers, all we're asking of you is to lay here and release and relax and reflect. Sometimes the mind can start going. And that's okay. The longer you lay here, all of the awesome work that we did with the poses, that's when it starts to flood through the body and do its good work so that you can execute those lasting steps. So stay here for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Enjoy this moment. It's yours and no one else's. Thank you for joining me today. In yoga we say, the light in me sees and recognizes the light in each and every one.